Image Radio is on the air. Golden Image.
Oh, I finally got to craft this game.
Rock on.
Oh! Wow. No, 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 no.
Hello, Golden Image Podcast listeners. It is I, Golden J, hanging out with Jammie Bosstel. How you doing, my friend?
All right, man. How you doing?
I've been doing great. Jammie reached out to me and said, hey, I'd love to come in and do the podcast. So here we are. Golden Odyssey, interesting people doing interesting things. We're about to get into all of his musical projects, and I'm going to dive into his personal life. So are you ready to roll?
Yeah, man. Let's roll.
All right. Well, man, I'm really happy that you reached out and we're hanging out. I don't think I've seen you since last Golden Image Radio interview with Praise the Fallen. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. When I came out there with John Sturr and
Yeah.
Brantley from Brandon Machine, and John Sturr was with me too.
That I did want to ask you. That was one of the hit points. What was it like working with John and Brantley?
Man, well, that all started by accident. I was at an open mic playing some songs that I wanted to do in my band. They didn't want to do them, so I ended up just taking them to open jam just to feel them out, see if people would like what I was doing. I had a friend, Jonathan, who played drums, and we went to open mic and we played. And one night, John Sturr walks in and says he likes the songs, and he says he wants to make a record with me. And he taught me a lot. He made me a lot more confident than I was. I was in Signal and everything, and that was, I knew my strength with singing and stuff, but I wasn't too confident with my guitar playing.
Right.
And even some of my songwriting, I wasn't too sure, because I had other individuals basically making me feel like they weren't good enough.
Right.
I won't go there, but John said I had the goods. And I remember the first time we practiced in this house on California Street in South Bend, and it was like July. And man, I think we jammed for like 3 weeks straight every day. We did the 8-song album that I did with John and Jonathan. And I remember the first time I was nervous in front of him. I had the guitar and I looked at him and said, hey man, I said, I just want you to know I'm not a guitar player. And he looks at me, and if you know John Sturr, he's snarky like this. He goes, well, what's that? What you got there in your hands right there? I said, a guitar. He goes, well, I guess you're a guitar player then, huh? Like, all right, okay.
There you have it. I remember
he feel a lot better, He really believed in the songs, believed in what I was doing, and that really gave me confidence, not an arrogance, but it gave me confidence, like, hey, maybe others are wrong here, maybe I'm on to something here. And then Brantley, when we recorded at Duckhead Studios in St. Joe, a guy named Gary Callender. John knew him. I guess he had done sound back in the day for Stiff or something. Back in the day, John Sturr was in a band called Stiff before he was in Lillian Axe. Right. And they played the White House and stuff. John is actually from Stevensville, Michigan. His wife, actually, Nikki, now lives in St. Joe, Michigan, still to this day.
Oh, right on.
His daughter, too, that's out in Stevensville, too. Jordan. I met all of them,
Nice.
And John ended up living with me. He was living with somebody else, and the situation wasn't going so well. He was uncomfortable, and he ended up living with me, and we worked on those songs night and day a lot. And anyway, with Brantley was John's lead singer in Brandon Machine.
Right.
When we recorded at Gary Callender's studio, Brantley and John both kind of just guided me vocally. Not that I couldn't do what I do already, but they showed me little stuff like, give it more grit, give it more attitude. I want to really feel this emotion. Can you do this? Stop, do that. They're pros.
Oh
They
yeah.
actually told me at the time, they're like, man, you should get out of here. You should move to Dallas. They were telling me I was a pro when I didn't, even though I had done what I did with Signal, I still, for some reason, had this insecurity, especially around them. I was like, well, dude, you're on MTV and stuff. What are you
Right.
talking about? He goes, no, man, you got the goods. You could go down there and do something. I couldn't because I had my son up here. I was a single dad, and I had visitation every other weekend and every
Yeah.
Wednesday, so I couldn't leave. But man, that meant a lot to me that a guy that was on MTV, Headbangers Ball, was telling me, you got the goods, kid. You're a pro.
Right on.
Meant a lot to me. It carries. He's in my heart. He passed away in 2014.
Yeah.
And John's in my heart, man.
I know that when he was in studio, he actually made the trip down. Him and Brantley both made the trip down a couple different times. The one time with Praise, and then one time with Brand New Machine. And I remember Angel was asking questions, and John just looked at her through the glass, and just in that snarky way that he does it, he's like, why don't you ask me a real question, not just bullshit questions? And I'm like, yep, this guy has been around. He has had every one of these fucking everyday fucking questions asked of him. And he wants to have fun. Let's ask some interesting questions. And I think I learned from that at that very moment. And we talked about it even before we started. I don't work off of a question list. I have notes, but I don't work off a question list. I want to talk to you. I want to build on what we're talking about, even if it's maybe just a little discombobulated. We might jump forward, jump back, but I want it to be interesting, and I think that's something that John taught me in just the very brief times that I spent with him. Just a few hours in those couple nights, and but I could still see him sitting in that room just eating fucking like pistachios or some shit like that, peanuts or something, just
I think
chilling.
Yep. Yeah, John lived with me, so I got to know John as a person, not just a rock star.
Right.
And I helped him out a lot as a friend. He was my friend. So we had good conversations. He told me stories about stuff and that that went on back in the day, like music videos back in the day would cost $50,000 and stuff like that. He told me the story of when they did the video for Show a Little Love, that they did it out in the desert at night, and it was like freezing cold when they did that video, and
I can only imagine. Yeah,
he had so much music that he was really, really. I think that's where I kind of get my songwriting thing from, because John taught me that when the rock show one day ends and it's over, you'll always be able to write songs and record, and you should start diving into that, and I learned that from John,
right?
That I need to start learning how to record my stuff and that, and because he recorded not just with me and not just the Brand New Machine stuff, but he was always working on something,
right? Because that's the way his brain works.
That he did. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. As much as I love to talk about John for the whole entire hour, let's talk about your home studio real quick. You used I was kind of Facebook stalking you a little bit ago, kind of looking around, and what are you using in your home studio setup right now?
I use Reaper. I use a Reaper program. I use Steven Slate for the drums, for the plugins, for compression and all that stuff. I've learned to use that with the drums and that. I use a Boss Katana, 100 watt Boss Katana head. I run it right through my interface. I've got, it's called a BOS TSE Sans amp for bass. I use that for bass, and then whatever guitar I choose to use. And then I have also like a keyboard program through Steven Slate too. And I do use some loops and stuff too. I use like Splice, and I use Loop Master. Yeah, it's pretty great. It's fun.
I have Splice. I use Splice quite a bit when I'm working on some things that I work on. I love Splice. I got some great stuff on there.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I use Reaper also. I'm a big Reaper fan. I am a big Logic Pro fan. I love Logic Pro,
Okay.
but if you ain't got the newest and highest
Yeah.
iMac, then you're not running Logic Pro at its full potential. So
Right.
Reaper is a very nice DAW to use or whatever. But um, so what's your weapon of choice when it comes to guitars? What's your favorite?
My favorite guitar on stage or recording wise.
Let's go recording. Let's go recording because that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're just kind of sitting back. We're doing some recording. So
I use a Jackson with zebra humbuckers in it. I can show it to you. It's right here. If you can see it.
oh yeah, nice, nice,
This one right here. Yeah, I love this guitar. It's great for recording. It sounds
nice.
awesome. Mainly that guitar is what I've used. It just sounds, I've tried to use other ones. I did use depends on the song and the tuning. I do have a guitar that's tuned in drop D. It's my mirror face Squire.
Oh, nice.
Just two. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah,
And then I have a
I've got
Squire Strat too. I use too with hot rails.
I love recording with I found that my cleans with my Squire Telly is
Oh
really
yeah.
really good. So I
Oh
use
yeah.
that for clean stuff. But
Tellys
what,
are great for clean tone for
yeah,
sure. A lot of country bands use Telecasters a lot.
yeah, they're and they feel good. They set nice. I mean, it's good neck. Although
Yeah.
I'm still an Ibanez guy, man. I love my Ibanez
Oh yeah.
guitars.
Awesome, man.
I got a whole I don't know if you can see it. You see my Ibanez right there, my little Geo that I
The red one?
modified.
The
Yeah,
red
and
one right there?
when my
Yeah.
Kansas City gear on it. I mean, I love my
Yeah.
Chiefs. In case you couldn't tell, by
Yeah, I
all the
see that.
fucking Chief shit that's
I
everywhere.
don't watch sports, but
That's
know
that's
about
all
sports,
right.
I don't really watch it. All I do
I'm a
is music.
I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, so it's hard to stay away from it in the fall. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did see that. Okay, so okay. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. You are right now fronting two separate bands.
Yeah.
You're still fronting Praise the Fallen, which is
Yeah.
how long has Praise been around now?
Well, Praise the Fallen was together from 2009 to 2011. And then I was in a band called Arson Radio. Arson Radio fell apart. I went to Chicago. I was in a band called Blind Spot.
Okay,
And I was it's pretty crazy, man. I was down in Chicago again. I hooked back up with Jonathan. We did some open jam thing, and this guy came along. He saw me, said, "I want to form a band with you." I ended up forming a band with this guy, and I grabbed another drummer. I got this session drummer that was doing studio work at a studio for Chris Steinmetz. If you know who that is,
I don't.
he's actually a guy. He either engineered or produced the Kiss Revenge record.
Okay,
He's worked with Chips Enough from Enough's Enough. Chip was doing session work too. The drummer was too. The drummer I got in a crunch where I needed a drummer because we were opening for Quiet Riot.
right on.
And long story short, the drummer ended up being my drummer. We were together. Blind Spot was together 2 years, and then John had passed away. I didn't have a band. My drummer left Blind Spot for Enough's Enough. Without a band, come back to South Bend with my tail between my legs. I'm like, all right, now what? And then Jonathan's like, dude, John passed away and they're going to do this memorial. And the guy that was throwing the memorial wanted to have me basically put a Praise the Fallen together and play his memorial.
Right on.
So I grabbed the original drummer, Jonathan, and then I had Jeff Sorgenfry. Now, if you know who that is, he just recently passed away from cancer.
Oh, right on.
I did a song with him right before he passed away. I had him come in the studio, and he'd always wanted to record a song with me, and we recorded a song. I can send you that song. I'll let you hear it.
Yeah,
It's called
I'd love
These
to.
Are the Days. It's streaming too, and I had it played on the Bear and everything for him. I figured I'd give him a taste of, a little rock star
Right on.
taste where he passed on. But anyway, Jeff filled in on guitar, And then I had Andy Kendall. I don't know if you know who that is. Andy used to do sound and stuff around for some bands. He did sound at Club Fever for a minute and stuff, but he actually played keyboards in Poison, touring with Poison back in the day. I met Andy when I was in Arts and Radio, but Andy was kicking around with the Brand New Machine guys. I kind of met him around them.
Right
He
on.
ended up playing bass, and basically we did a small set. There were people there that, you know, were from the industry in New York and LA and Texas, Dallas. They came up to the Memorial and they're like, man, these songs are really good. You should keep this going. So I was like, well, I don't have anything else going. I might as well. So I went through quite a few lineup changes, but I kept Praise the Fallen I've kept Praise the Fallen together since 2014.
Good on. Nice.
But it
Nice.
started in 2009 with John and Jonathan till 2011. Then we had a small break, and then it's been going since 2014.
Very cool. Very cool. Like I said, I've known that, you know, when we did Golden Image Radio back in 2008, 2009, you know, what did we stop in 2010 or 11? I forget, but I know that they were together then. I didn't realize you'd had a break and headed off to Chicago. I just kind of figured you were still playing with that and doing writing and recording with those, you know, with those guys. So, or under that flag anyway.
Everything came crashing down in my life. The economy crushed me. I actually ended up living in my mom's basement at 41 years old, dude. And I was like, what do I do? Do I, you know, that was, you know, the tail end of the economy crushing. People were still scattered looking for work, you know.
Right.
I was still on unemployment going, man, you know, I was constantly looking for work and stuff. Finally, I just said, you know what? F it. I'm going to go to Chicago. I'm going to form a band. I'm going to have fun, you know?
Right.
I was actually living in North Judson, Indiana, and I was driving to Chicago every weekend, playing in my band, ended up forming the band, then ended up getting a job at Chico out here. And then I ended up moving back to South Bend, but driving to Chicago for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Every weekend for 3 years, I did Blind Spot. Yeah.
That would, after a while, that drive just becomes a blur, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hour and a half Skyway, you know.
Right.
I mean, I looked at it as like, hey, there's other bands in other states. They drive sometimes even farther.
Yep.
You know, or you're sitting in traffic as long as I'm driving. The Skyway was the fastest way. But there were times, man, it was dangerous. I go in the winter too. I wouldn't just, I can't make it, snowing. I'd end up going. I was driven.
Right on. Right on. Okay, so Praise the Fallen's rolling. You guys are writing, recording.
Yeah.
Spotify. You can find it on Spotify, all streaming sites, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Apple Music and all that.
Yeah, it's everything. It's all out there. We've got, man, I think we've got 3 EPs and 4 albums, I believe. 3 albums, 3 EPs, I believe, something
Very
like
nice.
that.
Very nice.
A bunch of singles.
Right.
So
according to Josh, when COVID hit,
yeah,
that's when Bosstel became. Is that dead on there?
yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Was, you know, the shows dwindled to nothing,
Right.
you know. And I had a friend, his name was Randy Bickett, he's a friend of mine. When 2016, when I had a different lineup with Praise the Fallen, I was doing little demos. Man, I had this tablet and a Boss Mini Studio, you know. A drum machine was like straight beats. I didn't want to program nothing.
Right.
I would demo whatever I could. I was totally rigging this tablet recording program with this Boss Mini Studio and trying to put these songs together. I just put them in MP3 format and send them to band members. Go, here, figure this out and learn this. You know,
Right.
I was making demos that way. And my friend Randy Bickett's like, dude, let's get you a real studio, because I got a feeling you would be really, really good at this, you know. And I was like, I knew exactly what to get, you know. I was like, well, actually, I put a shout out for the guitar plugins at first. I was like, what should I get for guitar? What's the most affordable guitar tone plugin, whatever.
Right.
And somebody had said it was Stephen Slate. And then I saw the Stephen Slate drums. And then I got wrapped up in the whole All Access Stephen Slate thing. You know, it's great.
Yep.
It's fantastic. And I was like, and then I just dabbled with it. And then I heard about the Splice thing, and I started piecing songs together because, yeah, man. Well, there was a minute there where I was laid off for a couple weeks, and I was like treating it like a job. I was getting up in the morning, getting my coffee, sitting here and just learning and soaking everything in, the YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. And I was determined. I'm like, I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to get so good at this that I can get these songs from this bedroom studio onto the radio.
Right.
And I've done it. I've had like 5 songs already on the Bear, you know, that came out of this bedroom studio. But yeah,
it's pretty amazing how far we've come with home studios, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember when I was in Arson Radio, the guy I was playing with, Jamie Dyer. That's when I first learned about the program drums and that, because he goes, yeah, let's come to my studio. We'll record your songs. And we're in his living room. I'm like, all right, where's the drum room? Because I'm used to a studio, you know?
Right.
He's like, this is it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he showed me Addictive Drums. I'm like, whoa, it looked complicated. It looked really complicated. And I'm like, man, that looks technical. I'll just let you do that. I'll just write the song, bring them to you, and we'll put them together.
Right.
And I decided, I made a conscious effort when bands weren't doing any shows or anything. I had some downtime. I was like, man, it's time. It's time for me to learn this. I need to learn this, you know, because what if live shows don't come back? We don't know, you know. I had to be productive. I was like, I'm going to record. And then I set a goal. I'm like, I'm going to record my first solo album by myself, you know, because Praise the Fallen, you know, we definitely weren't seeing each other as much as, because they had the rule you couldn't be around people, and so it kind of sucked. I mean, we stayed in communication and stuff every week, but we couldn't practice and stuff. So it's like, hey man, just stay on top of your parts, because there'll be a day we're back, you know. Right. And just in the meantime, I just made, like, the rehearsal days or whatever, I would just come in here and record a song, and I was pumping stuff out fast. And it all started with, like, as Josh told you, I was in Spain with the Spain band, and we had like 14 songs, man, and they were killer songs. My God. And long story short, the guitar player, he wanted to try to do it yourself, you know, but he really didn't have the skills, man, you know. And I'm used to quality product, putting my name on a quality product. I've always worked in studios, you know, like Tim Bushong. I've worked with Chris Steiner in Chicago. I've worked with Jeff Anderson. I've worked with professional Corey Lowry, Clint Lowry's brother, Seven Dust. You know, I've always worked in pro studios when that stuff comes out, it's polished, you know. And this wasn't sounding good. And I was the first to speak up, and it caused a riff, and then, you know. So I was like, okay. And I was like, fine. I'll just take some of these songs and record them myself. and that's kind of what I did. I was pissed off. I was fueled. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna learn this. I've got time. So I taught myself how to record the stuff, and I was already a drummer, because I was a drummer before I was a singer. Okay. So I already have the natural ability to know where the fills come in and stuff. And that's half the battle, man, is getting the drums right in a song. Yep. You know, because if you don't know how to do the drums, your songs aren't going to sound right, you know, and learning how to play to a click and all that stuff, you know. Yep. But then the hardest part for me was learning how to mix. Because when I first started, man, I had these Behringer speakers. They totally sucked ass, dude. Oh, my God, dude. I was doing the car thing, running the car like 80 times back and forth. And I was like, man, there's got to be an easier way. I figured out, I grabbed another, I had another computer over on my right over here. And I had just the studio speakers hooked up to that, just to listen to music and stuff. So I figured out, wait a minute, I can hook my speakers and have my speakers do the playback over here. I learned that mixing speakers are not the same as playback speakers. Right. Yep. So once I rendered the stuff and did the playback, then I got faster, just ping ponging it, you know, going, oh, okay, I need more bass, or I need, you know. Once I figured that out, I got really fast at it. And now my production's gotten a lot better. I've had tips from friends tell me how to get the drums to sound. I was like, how do I get that drum sound that we hear on the radio now and stuff. Dude, just look up at tutorials. Stephen Slate tells you everything, you know. And I looked it up, modern drums, Stephen Slate, right there, telling you how to get the modern drum sound. I was like, damn, it's right there the whole time. You know,
I know that I looked at I actually had downloaded the free version of Stephen Slate, and of course my computer at that time did not like it, but I watched the tutorial, and I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit of a tech head. I'm not terrible about it, but I sat there and watched every ounce of them show how they put those drums into that program. And you know, the like 14 different mics on the bass drums that have you know, all these different sounds and stuff like that. Yeah, they definitely put the work into it. I wish I would have been able to use it a little bit more. I didn't have much luck with it, but so I ended up going back to Easy Drummer for just the stuff. But most of the stuff that I work on now is pretty much all EDM style stuff. So I can use the splice and I can use the you know, stuff like that.
I started out with Easy Drummer. I started out with Easy Drummer, but I was like, you know, when
it has its moments. Yeah.
God, dude, it sounds so much better.
Yeah.
And everybody that's heard my stuff, they're like, where'd you record this? There was a guy, his name was John Nooner. He actually owned Miami Street Studios. You remember that place in South Bend? I
do. I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
I recorded there a long time ago, man. And John Nooner hit me up like on Facebook, because I made this, when I made videos, I made slide videos of my songs and stuff. I didn't care, dude. I was at the point like, you know, let's entertain these people anyway. We keep people, people are bored right now. So I was making slide videos and putting songs out like every week. You know, if I was annoying anybody, sorry. You know, I just felt like, hey, that's the way it is nowadays. People are pumping stuff out constantly now. You know, get used to the times, you know. But John Nooner was like, where's B-Side Studios? I'm like, well, it stands for, it's B-Sides. It's my bedroom studio. It's called B-Side Studios, Bosstel, bedroom, whatever.
Yep.
And he goes, really? He goes, how long have you been doing this? I'm like, I think it was like, at the time it was like 6 months. He goes, you didn't go to school for this? I'm like, no. He goes, you're fucking good. I was like,
right on.
Wow, that meant a lot to me coming from John Nooner, because he actually worked in an actual studio,
right?
The real tape where you had to cut the stuff, and because I remember he did that back when I recorded with him. Mad respect. When he said that to me, I was like, okay, that made me feel really good. I'm on to something here. And then I just worked on getting better at it.
I think you said something very important that I want our listeners to really hone in on, because me and Jammie have been in and out of studios for a lot of years. I've never been fortunate enough to work with Tim Bushong, although I've always wanted to. I know him. I've met him. You know, we've interacted several times. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
You said the magic word in tape. And I remember one of the first recordings that one of the first studios that I was in, we recorded on an 8-track reel-to-reel in this guy's studio. Yeah. So listeners, young kids out there who are watching this, you know, all 2 or 3 of you, you guys got it way easier than we ever had it back in the day. Because, you know, you spend hours in there. You know, if it wasn't perfect, you could, you know, the patch-ins weren't like today where you can just kind of, you know, drop in and drop out and fix something, or even go in and MIDI it and move it around, however you want to do.
I'd say we came from the analog era where when you had to have your shit together. You had to know your songs when you walked in that door.
Yep.
You know, you had to be tight, know how to play to a click and play those songs on the money. You know, that's the era I come from. I mean, I can do my vocals now, not bragging or anything, but I come from that era to where you got to be ready when you go in there and prepared. Funny, you know, when I did my vocals here with Wayne, you know, on the Bosstel stuff, because it starts here when I'm going off subject here, but when Wayne ended up joining up with me, he has an actual studio, and he's like, let's take the stuff now. Now my studio's turned into a demo studio,
right?
To where it can be good. It's good enough, but because I'll still add fills and stuff and everything I want, I put everything together myself here, and then I send it to Wayne. I send the stems. He does real drums the way I did them,
Right.
with real drums. And then I go to his place and I redo all the guitars through real amps, but it starts here in my bedroom studio.
Yep.
But when I went there to do vocals, actually, he recorded Praise the Fallen's EP, Degenerate Types. And he was like, man, I've heard all these horror stories that you're hard to work with and stuff. And he's like, you're one of the easiest vocalists I've ever worked with. Cause I'd come in there, I'm prepared.
Right.
I do the vocals really quick, and I take direction, no problem. He's like, hey, can you do a little more of this or less of that, less grit, do this, and while you're doing that, you're learning that, but also that practice comes from having my own studio and doing it right here at home too.
Yep.
If you're critical of yourself and you're picky with yourself, and you're honest with yourself, you're going to get better and better,
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. And, I always found that I was, your worst critic is yourself. You're your own worst critic. So, and that's what I find out with myself. And I go back and do these things and listen to them and like, I could do better than that. And then you go and work on it. And, it makes a big difference if you're your own worst critic. As long as you can push through it.
As far as I know, I have not used auto-tune at all.
I can't figure out how to use auto-tune.
Yeah, it's weird anyway, right? So,
I want to do it for something, and I'm trying to figure out the program, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm done. You just
my very first recording, I recorded it. Do you remember a band called Soul Motor?
I do not.
They had a song on the Bear a long time ago. I think it was one of the members of Tesla or something.
Okay.
There was a band called Soul Motor in Sacramento, California. I was in California before I came here. And I won this battle of bands. I ended up winning free recording. And I worked at a studio called Puss Cavern Studios. And that was my very first time in a studio. And I can tell you, I still have my very first band recording, and my voice wasn't as good as it is now. It just took a lot of years to get to. Now I can go in, slam out the main vocals within an hour, and then do the backup vocals really quick. I've gotten really quick at it, but that comes from in my opinion, it comes from the analog era, man. Having to know your shit,
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. So Bosstel, you sent me some tracks. I really, really liked the I'm Not Angry, which was the first one of the group that you sent me. I love the hook in that. I thought that was a really good track. The rest of them, good music. Is the Bosstel album out or coming out, or
we've got a few songs up right now. We've got Leave This All Behind. We've got The Light. We've got This War Called Life, which is actually a video. We did our first music video. It was actually, we did it right next door to my house in this warehouse, right next door to my house. My landlord owns some property, and he owns my house too, obviously, but he owns the property and there's a bunch of businesses. And I was like, hey man, we've been having a hell of a time trying to find a space. Do you mind if we use your space on a Saturday just to do a music video? Had to ask the guy that was running the business, and he was cool with it. We went in there and we did our video in like half a day. Wayne's son, Briar, shot the video and that for This War Called Life. And yeah, we did it right over here. And so there's that song that's out, This War Called Life. A World Out of View, one of my favorites that we've done too. That's also out there too. So we plan on doing an EP, but we've been recording one song at a time.
Right.
And we've been dropping singles, so we might just put it all together as an EP,
Right on.
But a lot of people these days are just dropping singles. Our next single is going to be I'm Not Angry Anymore. And we've got a music video we're going to shoot. I'm going to have a private party here and kind of have it. We're talking about doing it in my basement.
Oh, right on.
Like to show just a good time and stuff, but we've got some other clips, ideas. The character that was in This War Called Life, we're thinking we're going to keep him in each video. And
he'll be
definitely
like
our character in all our videos, something like that. Make light of it and that. But I'm excited about the Bosstel stuff. It's a little different than Praise the Fallen. Praise the Fallen, it's 2 guitars, bass, drums, and vocals. Whereas the Bosstel stuff, I'm really thinking stuff through. I'm thinking a little more modern. I'm thinking with the loops and electronics, there's some hip hop beats. If you listen to some of the songs, you can hear some of the electronics going
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
elements of metal and there's elements of pop, and I can't really, I can't really pinpoint it. And that's exactly my attitude. Was like, if I'm going to do something outside of Praise the Fallen, which had happened all by accident because I was just bored,
Right.
and like, well, I'm going to record a bunch of songs. And then my old bass player, I was in a band in '97. My old bass player came back and said, dude, you should form a band with this. And I was like, honestly, Jeremy, I was rolling my eyes going, oh God, dude. I finally got my lineup straight with PTF. I don't want the headache of going through people. I have the freedom to just do what I want and put it out there.
Right.
I don't want to go through the headache. I'm willing to do it, but I don't want to go through the bullshit again.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was, well, how are we going to find people that are going to play the guitar part I wrote? Because I've worked with guitar players that are like, hey, I like what you're doing, but do what I do. And they completely gut your song and change it to their own liking. And it's like, but that's not what I did. I did what I did. I want you to do what I did. But I would always compromise and go, well, we'll just go along with it. It's cool. But then later on, I'd be like, man, I should have put my foot down. Because especially if the band fell apart, you're like,
right.
Man, I should have just stood my ground and just done it my way. So finally, after learning all those lessons, bands falling apart, losing members, going through people, egos, all the bullshit, bro. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here in this bedroom studio, enjoy this by myself. I can do it. Freedom. Nobody telling me, hey, you should do this with the bass part. You should do that. The songs were done already. I had a batch of songs done. So all I had to do was find a guy that was willing to play what I wrote. Wayne liked it. Dennis liked it. Ryan liked it. Boom. Bosstel was born. It didn't start out that way. I did have a couple guys at first I found on Band Mix. I won't name them because a couple of them live out in Warsaw. They came out here from Warsaw. They were driving out here. One guy was always late. He was not prepared. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, here we go. And we had
you met my neighbors.
Yeah, the first show I had set up, we were opening for Texas Hippie Coalition. They were like all bug-eyed. These guys were like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, that's the level we're on here. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it,
Right.
And these guys basically, they just weren't ready. Finally, when we did have the songs down, then it came down to, okay, well, what do we call this? And my bass player, Ryan, he played with me in '97. We've been friends ever since. He went in the military. He was in Afghanistan and stuff. We always stayed in touch. He's the one who came back home here and said, dude, I want to play with you. And I was like, well, what do we call this? He's like, you should call it Bosstel. I'm like, oh shit, dude. I'm gonna catch heat for this shit. People are gonna be like, oh, who does he think he is? And but even Josh was like, fuck it, dude. You should call it Bosstel. You earned it, man. You built this. You've taken a lot of crap from people. Put your name out there. Put your balls on the line and go, here you go. This is what it is. Why hide behind a band name anymore? I wrote these songs. I'm proud of it. Put it out there. So what I did, because I still was so like, I don't know, I put a feeler out on Facebook. I put a couple, they had a couple band names. I said, okay, what do we call this? Bosstel, this. People told me to call it Bosstel. Majority ruled. That's the only reason why I did that.
Hey man, I'm all about it. I mean, Bosstel is. I mean, if you didn't know that was your last name, then I mean, it's just a really cool band name. So yeah, I'm all about it. If you love it, awesome. I think it's a good solid band name. So
it's working now. I mean, promoters even told me, even chimed in. Jeff Harris, the guy at the Hobart Art Theater, I play a lot. Some guys from Pierre's like, call it Bosstel. I'm like, are you for real? Really? It's just weird because it's your last name. You're like, and I don't want people to think, who's this guy think he is, because that's just small mentality. There's a lot of artists that use their name,
What are you kidding me? You're on Golden Image podcast right now doing the Golden Odyssey series. for
Yeah.
Golden Mojo Entertainment. I mean, I'm all about my last name.
Yeah, man. Make it work, right?
That's right.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing. I mean, we got a killer. Check this out, man. We just got these t-shirts made, man.
Yeah. I saw those on your Facebook page. They
Yeah.
look great.
That's the back. Yeah. We
So
just sold a couple at this last show. We just sold them for Cottonmouth Kings
I
on
saw that.
Sunday.
Yeah. How was
And
it?
it was funny because the guys were like, man, they're not gonna like us. They're not gonna. They loved it, man. We got
Right
a
on.
really good response, and everybody got along great. And and the opening guy, his name was Jordan Jacks from Niles, Michigan. He's a rapper. He was
Uh-huh.
really good, man. He was really good. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, let's get into a little more personal. Let's talk about the family a little bit.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you actually are pretty recently married, back in 2019, right?
Yeah, 48. I finally got married. I'm like,
And
I guess I'll do this.
so
Yeah.
I gotta ask, do you call her I'm gonna believe me if I don't fuck this up, it's Lola, right?
Yeah.
Or do
It's
you call her
Lola.
Angela?
No, it's Lola.
Okay. Like I said, I was Facebook stalking. I wanted to make sure that I was in the right spot here. So
Like the
uh
song. Everybody
like,
asks me, like the song? Yeah, I like the song, except she's a woman.
I didn't even fucking think of that. Duh, what a dumbass. Wow. So how'd you meet?
I met her on Plenty of Fish.
Really?
Yeah,
So
I was down in I told you when man, I had no job. I was living
huh?
at my mom's. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I really wasn't. I just needed a friend. And
Right.
honestly, when I first met her, she was kind of angry because she had just split up with her husband. I won't go into that, but she was real mad, I guess. And I was like, I don't know if I like this girl or not, you know. But anyway, there was a Metallica tribute band that played at it was Mojo's at the time in Joliet, and I was going out with a friend, and I called her up because I kind of felt like she could use a friend too.
Yeah.
Who was I? I'm not judging nobody. I couldn't give anybody anything, man. I was literally living on unemployment in my mom's basement, feeling like a fucking loser, you know. And I'm doing my band in Chicago, and having fun, and in between trying to find work and get out on my own again because
Right.
the
Right.
bottom dropped out of me, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Everything
I
fell
can only
apart.
imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and so I was like, I got nothing to give nobody, and I asked her to come hang out with me, and we hung out and had a good time and that, and then I don't know, we just clicked, and I ended up hanging out with her more, and I ended up getting a job at Chico, and then we ended up moving in together, and I don't know, I just didn't see myself without her, so I decided to marry her.
Very good. Very cool. I like that. That's how you know it's right. If you can't ever imagine her not being there, that's when you know
Yeah,
it's the right deal.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I was trying to do the math on that. So you guys actually got married before the COVID hit, right?
yeah,
2019. It
yep.
was 2020 when everything kind of fell apart, wasn't it? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had COVID. I was in the hospital for 22 days ICU.
No shit.
And yeah, man, you didn't know that?
I did not know that. No.
I was on
Um,
oxygen for 3 months. I had to
wow.
relearn how to breathe.
Uh,
Yeah, man, it happened to me. And people were really surprised in that because I'm pretty healthy. I hope I look the same as I have. I take care of myself. I don't smoke. I barely drink.
right.
Um, so people were shocked, and I was shocked too. Yeah, yeah, it
Well,
was ICU 22 days.
it was my understanding it didn't care whether you were healthy or not healthy. If it wanted to attack, it attacked. So
I
uh
learned
I
that, man.
I was one of the fortunate ones. And fuck, man, I work in a hospital, and I never officially had
Yeah,
COVID. Yeah. So
yeah,
I,
man.
I
You're lucky, dude.
I think I took it in bit by bit and kind of built an immune system to it because of where I worked at. But yeah,
Yeah,
I was very fortunate, and definitely yeah, that's a long time to be in the hospital on that shit.
22 days away from everybody,
Uh,
it was scary, man. It was very scary because that's when it first came out. And it was in red, and
Right.
nobody knew. I looked at the doctor and I asked him, I said, just be straight up with me, man. Am I going to make it? And he looked at me and said, we don't know. What do you do? Like, you just got to dig down deep and go, no, I'm going to make it.
Right.
Even though I could barely breathe. It was scary, man. They did physical therapy with me, came in and did physical. I couldn't even stand on my toes without my oxygen dropping to 69, man.
Right. Right.
You wouldn't believe how much oxygen you use to do the smallest things, but it taught me something, man. It really, really taught me. If there's a lesson I can tell anybody out there, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of things that I took for granted myself, man. I can tell you that I'm grateful in my life for everything that I have, whereas before it happened to me, I admit I wasn't,
Right.
and now I noticed that I am grateful and I'm back out in the world and I got another chance. I see a lot of people that aren't.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just keeping it real, man.
Yeah. No. I mean, I walk out of where I'm at every day and grateful for everything that I have and what I've achieved and so on and so forth. And it's good to be proud of what you've done and you got to roll that way. But
Well, I beat myself up. There's quite a few other people that have beat me up through the years, as far as like in the scene and in that, and I would take that to heart and beat myself up over it. So I was in a very, very dark place before that happened to me.
right.
I don't really talk about it too much, but I was in a very dark place. Like I didn't want to be here anymore.
Well, maybe that's why it happened. Maybe that was your your wake up call. That was your alarm clock going off to say, hey, don't
Yeah.
be in that place. Get out there.
As you might have heard or whatever, everybody tells me, oh, I've heard about you. And it's like, my whole thing is, man, if you don't sit down and get to know me, you'll never know me.
Right.
If you go by what you hear or whatever, you'll never know me. And that's a shame, So my advice to anybody out there is go to the source. If you have questions about somebody, just go to them and ask them, you want to know me? Here I am.
Right on.
I'm not hard to reach.
Here he is, Golden Image Podcast. He's hanging out with me tonight. You're getting the story. So tell me a little bit about your son. Do you just have the one son?
I have a son. His name's Jonah.
Uh-huh.
He's down in Bloomington. He's a manager at a lab. I have not seen my son in a while. It's that's kind of a sore subject with me.
Sorry, man. I did not know.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't know, and it's not even my fault, really. It's his mom, basically. But I haven't seen him in 3 years. So
right on. Well,
he's at that age, rebellious or whatever. People
right.
like he's come around, and it's like, okay, you do your thing, whatever. I'll see you soon,
Right
But I know he graduated from IU. He's running a lab down in Bloomington.
Nice. So I did see that you guys headed out and went and seen the Transformers movie here just recently. Who were you with there besides
Okay.
Lola?
We took in my wife and I, long story short, we have a situation with the family where the parents of our grandkids are going through recovery. And we took temporary custody of the grandchildren. They're living with us.
And so you have the three grandkids?
Yeah. Yep. We got a 2-year-old Geo. We've got Evan, who is 6, and then we have Kalani, who is 8.
Nice.
Boy, let me tell you, I haven't had kids in 20 years, and suddenly, boom,
you get 3 of them. Here you go. Enjoy.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the grandkids are different than our regular kids, I think, at some point. But I have 2 and a third on the way, and I love my grandkids, but I like to play with them, and then send them home. So, but it's a little different
I'm
for
not gonna
you.
do that, man. So I'm entertaining them and stuff. But at the same time, honestly, nobody really knows my life. But I left my son's mom when my son was 6, and she was very much a stickler for the court visitation by the rules. You can't have them any longer than this. She was very by the rules,
Right.
which sucked because I wanted to be in my son's life more than she allowed me, basically. So I did miss out on some stuff, that you would see every day with the child,
Right.
to where I'm experiencing that now, in like the Transformers movie and going to the park and stuff. Dude, I didn't get to do that with my kid. I mean, I did when I had visitation with them, but honestly, not to go off the rails here, but things were so messed up between his mom and I that when I did pick him up, I'd ask him, "How you doing?" I would pick him up, he'd get in the car, I'd be like, "How you doing?" I'd be positive, like, "How you doing?" He'd be like, "I'm stressed out." I'm like, "Dude, you're 8. Why are you stressed out?"
Right.
And he was just always, I'm not dissing his mom. I appreciate she did this, but she didn't really allow him to be a kid. You know, Education was pounded on him, pounded,
Right.
pounded, pounded on him. So he was, I don't know. Every time when I had him visitation, he was quiet. He was reserved. He was serious all the time. He needed to lighten up and be a kid,
Right.
But my son wasn't like that much, So now, I have these grandkids. I'm actually to go do fun things that I wasn't able to do,
Right.
basically.
Nice. That's awesome. That's great. And it's great that you've taken them in to give them a good home, to someplace that they can call home and feel safe, and while everything else gets squared away, hopefully.
Well, yeah, they're working on that. They're actually working on moving here, and they're going through recovery. The son is a veteran, PTSD veteran, so
Yep.
so he's working on his recovery and that, and we definitely want them to get their kids back in that, you
Right on.
know. So, but for now, we're here for them. That's what family's about. And
Oh
at the
yeah.
same time, those two, they were living in Ohio where they didn't really have anybody, and I was the one who said, well, you should come back here, be around the people that love you. When you have those down days or whatever, you can come over and talk to us. You're feeling bad or in a dark place, whatever. You don't go that route. Instead, you come and you talk to me, talk to your mom. We're here for you, basically. Some people would be like, they would just give up and go, how could you? We're like, no, this is a time when the family comes together even closer,
Right.
tighter, and step up and go, no, we're going to help you. So yeah, we're not letting the kids go to a foster care or anything like that. So there's songs in there.
I know there's definitely a song in there, and you're gonna write it tonight when you get off with me, because you're like, there's a song in there. I'm gonna get to this.
Maybe.
A couple more quick questions before we get out of here. Like I said, once again, kind of leaping around your Facebook a little bit. You said you went back and watched the Miami Vice series again.
Oh,
And this is kind of a stupid off the shoot question, but what did you think going back and watching that again? Because I don't know about you, but for me, man, that was my fucking childhood right there. You know what I'm saying?
Totally, dude. Totally. I actually wore pink in high school. I was a well-dressed kid. People wouldn't think that now. I'm metal Jamie wearing black all the time or
Right,
whatever.
right.
You know,
In
no,
your
I wore pink
pastels.
back then, but we didn't know that cops couldn't chase bad guys in sandals.
That's right. That's right.
It just looked cool. But no, man, I watched the show and I was like, man, this show is still fucking good.
It's been a couple years since I went back and rewatched the entire series from A to Z, from the first to the very last.
It's on
And
Tubi, man.
oh, I got the full fucking set of them right
I
here
got
on
the
DVD.
DVDs too, but it's on Tubi now. So
Right on.
I got a shit ton of DVDs I don't even watch because everything's on streaming now.
Right. Did you notice about all of the up and coming people that are now like fucking super famous? Like Lou Diamond Phillips was in an
Yeah,
episode, and just
the guy
all
who
those
played
people.
Al Bundy was in the one
Yeah,
episode
yep,
too.
yep.
Yeah,
And
that's
this,
pretty funny.
I just thought it was trippy, and
It's kind of like Seinfeld too, how they had y'all saw people on Seinfeld like, hey, that guy's a famous movie actor now, or
right, right.
he always had some of the girls he had on there that later on were like famous actresses and stuff. It's pretty funny.
It's crazy, but yeah, that's what I loved about going back and watching the whole Miami Vice series was just trying to eyeball all those people and figure out, hey, well, fuck, that looks like such and such, and that's that, and then you go on IMDb and you start reading through it. It's like, yep, that's who that was, and I just thought it was trippy as shit. But I saw that and I just chuckled. I'm like, yeah, I did that not too long ago. Went back
I'm a
and watched.
nostalgia maniac, I guess. Like today I was listening to Billy Corgan interviews, man, talking about the Pumpkins and talking about the past and the way the music, man, that guy, he's, the way he talks about the music industry, I've learned so much
Right.
from the stories he's told. Like, oh my God, you know. But then again, he's sitting there saying, I got a big house and lots of money.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you complain about that, but yet you
Yeah. You've
you
definitely
live a
taken
life.
advantage of it also. Yeah.
Right.
The other question I have for you is when we were IM and late last week, you said that you listened to Golden Image podcast about industrial revolution there in Valpo.
Yeah.
Did you go check it out yet?
Not yet, but I plan on it. Valpo is I grew up in Chesterton, in
Okay.
between Chesterton and Valparaiso, actually on Meridian Road, where the Pines Ski Lodge was at. I don't know if you know Valpo at all. But my mom's husband has a body shop called Tom's Auto Body in Valpo, and I got friends in Valparaiso. I lived in Valparaiso. Actually, when I joined Signal, I was living in Valparaiso.
Right
In
on.
Valparaiso, yeah, Chesterton, Valparaiso. That's my hometown. That's my area.
Well, you got to go check it out, man, because it is a cool place and the food is actually really, really good there. We do a get together in like February with some friends of ours from Portage in Chicago and that
Okay.
area. We meet down there and just have a nice lunch and catch up, from in the middle of winter. But yeah, definitely. If you when you go check it out, you have to IM me and tell me what you think.
Oh, I will, dude. Totally, man. Yeah. Is that where Strongbows used to be? You know what I'm
No,
talking about?
no, I do not know. So
Okay, it's
I
off of 30 across from Walmart.
no, it's a little bit farther down, or is it maybe now see, now you got me thinking.
Okay.
I can just drive there. I know how to get there because it's right
Okay.
on 30. Yeah, it's right on 30, but I think it's before you get to that whole area where Walmart and all that stuff's at. Because then there a
Oh,
car dealership and stuff down there too. Does that sound about right?
I think
That's
so.
right
Yeah.
on 30. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
before you get there. It's actually right next to the college.
Oh, okay. It's past that then.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on the wrong side of it. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's past that because you go
right on.
past Duffy's. You see Duffy's up in the hill on the right there.
Okay.
And then there's a mowing place and the cowboy store. Yeah, you go further down.
Right
The
on.
Speedway there is by the college.
I know where the Speedway is at. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I know that whole area, man. I grew up in Chesterton, Valparaiso, like you said, Portage. I
Right.
play in Hobart, Indiana a lot, and I draw a lot of my friends from high school to the shows. I still
Nice.
hang out with people I went to high school with and stuff at my shows when I play Hobart Art Theater.
Nice. So what school did you go to in Hobart?
I went to Chesterton High School.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I went to Chesterton High School. You know where Chesterton's at?
I don't.
Where the Indiana Dunes State Park is. That's
Oh.
where when I tell everybody that, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
right off 94 there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where we'd go to catch South Shore to go up into Chicago. We'd just park there at the state park in the train station right around the dunes area.
Okay, that's probably Chesterton then. Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
on.
that's where I grew up.
All right, everybody, check this out. So you can find www.bosstelofficial.com, or you can check out Praise the Fallen at www.ptfband.com. You gonna have merchandise for sale on those or just that show?
Mainly at the shows right now. I'll figure out how to do a merch store soon
Right
once
on.
we get merch built up. But that, you want me to tell them where the shows are? Does that
Yeah,
matter right
well,
now?
it's going to be a few weeks before this comes out, so just go
Okay,
check out go check out Jamie's Facebook page. The
yeah,
stuff is on there.
all the
Um,
shows are there. I got some
yep.
good ones. Gemini Syndrome, July 11th, Hobart Art Theater, and then Praise the Fallen's doing 2 nights in a row. We're playing July 14th out at the WC Social Club in Chicago. We're opening for Shallow Side. And then July 15th, we're at Cheers Pub. Have you been in the new Cheers, Jeremy?
Dude, I have not been there since the roof caved in.
Dude, it's going to blow your mind the
I,
way it
I
is now.
I've heard.
Josh
I
does sound there now.
Does he?
Yeah,
I don't make it out much anymore.
I
You know,
understand that.
I
You should
just
come out and see us.
I need to get out. I need to get out and see you. I need to get out and see Josh. I need to go out and see my buddy Chris Gray. And I mean, I have a laundry list, believe me, that I need to go see. But
Yeah,
we get so wrapped up in our own little world and what's going on, we forget that we need to go out. And
yeah,
I'm a big advocate. I'm from the Warsaw area, and I see this all the time. Last weekend, Quiet Riot come into town.
yeah. I heard
And
about that.
yeah, they're in Central Park. It's a free show, and everybody's talking about Quiet Riot, and everybody's talking about Quiet Riot, and everybody's going to see Quiet Riot, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you all are so starved for entertainment, and there's so many great local bands that could really use your support to get out
Yeah,
there, and yet I don't always get out to see who I need to go see, and it's nothing personal to my friends and who play. I mean,
not at all.
I'm happy for them. I mean, it's just so hard for me to get out and go places and be out late because God damn it, people, I'm getting old.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I got you, dude. But yeah, July 15th, we're opening for the Lonely Ones at Cheers. And then I just got for Bosstel. This is gonna be great. It's actually out by you. We're playing at Pierre's. We're opening for Life of Agony.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. They're one of my bucket list bands. I love that band. I've loved that band since the late '90s. And I just got a date yesterday. Bostel's going to be playing October 20th at the Vault in Saginaw, Michigan.
Very
Too.
cool.
We're
Very cool.
branching out everywhere, man.
Good.
Praise the
Good.
Fallen, branching out everywhere. That's me. I'm not content just playing in South Bend. The scene's small in South Bend now. There's not much left, honestly.
No, it was starting to, honestly, when Guilt 4 and Cheers fell apart, the scene was actually starting to kind of crumble at that point anyway, if I
Well, that
remember
dude,
right.
the dude that owns Cheers now is a great guy. He's busted out the wall. The capacity is up to 272 there now,
Nice.
compared to the way it was. I mean, when Danielle and her mom owned it, they're lucky the farm marshal didn't knock it down and bust it, 'cause we're always over capacity there. Good
Right.
times and stuff, but no, the owner, man, he goes above and beyond just booking the band and relying on the band to, promote. This dude actually rents the billboard that's right by the toll road exit and promotes the show on an electric billboard. He's already done radio ads on the Bear. He's got line dancing. He's connected with B100. He's got country concerts going there now too. He's got national bands, regional or national, somewhat now. He just had Alex Williams, which the guy has had a song on Yellowstone. He's a country artist, played on Friday. And then he had a rock show the next night. He had an international Rolling Stones tribute band there. He's got comedy shows going there on Tuesdays, and he has karaoke too. He's got everything there.
Very
and
nice.
the place is remodeled inside. It's nice and clean, and they got awesome pizza. Dude, finally, in my opinion, I played Cheers since 1993.
Right.
So I remember Jan before Danielle and that. So I'm like the godfather of Cheers. I don't say that, but that's places in my heart, man.
Yep.
Even the dirty, dungy Cheers it needed an overhaul, man.
Right.
A lot of people would be like, I'm not going there. It's a dump. Well, it's not a dump anymore, people. No more excuses.
Right,
You can
right.
come see a great venue. It's been completely remodeled. It's awesome. I'll send you a picture. You'll be like, wow.
Yeah,
If you've looked, maybe you've looked.
I saw that.
already.
I saw your videos that you posted that said it was at Cheers with the black background stage. It looks like everybody writes on.
Oh, I got a picture of the bar and stuff. The way the
Oh,
room
nice.
really looks too, and everything. They've got LED lights in there now. The floor has been redone. The roof was redone. Air conditioner was replaced. You know, all new bars. All the bar furniture is new. Everything's been redone, dude. The bathroom is redone. Everything's been redone in that place.
Nice, nice. Well,
It's
good.
nice.
I'm glad they're bringing it back because you have a soft place for Cheers, and so do I. I mean, I had a lot of great times up there. I played with a lot of great bands up there, and you know, we were brokenhearted when it kind of fell apart. And but yeah, I'm glad that they're bringing it back.
He's gonna have national bands play there, and there's no venue. There's no venue doing that here.
Right.
We don't have Club Fever no more.
Right.
I haven't seen a bear growl in a while. I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, maybe since everything's kind of cleared out and everybody's starting to reopen all of these, I'm waiting for Gear Fest to come back, Sweetwater. Jesus, you know, I need to get back over.
Yeah, I mean, I had hit the bear up and said, hey man, if you want Praise the Fallen or Bosstel to play the bear growl this year, let me know. We're down. You know, why not? You know, why not?
Hey, you got to put it out there. Jammie,
we're good enough though for nationals. We should be able to good enough to play the bear growl.
The growl. There you go. Hey man, thank you for joining me for Golden Image, Golden Odyssey series, man. I appreciate it. It's good to see you again. I'm glad that things are starting to flow well, and the best of luck to you and Praise the Fallen and Bosstel, and keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Always will, man. Always will.
All right. Well, let me throw my plugs out there, and we're gonna get on out of here.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Golden Image Podcast, the Golden Odyssey series. You know, you can find us on the international web at goldenmojoent.com. Go check it out. We're still working on it. Got some pictures up. We're getting more pictures up, but we have a great merch page for all of the podcasts. And when I say all the podcasts, I mean them all. You can listen to the Call Guys. You can listen to the United States of Paranormal. You can check out the Indiana Chiefs fans or the Golden 80s. And also don't forget about the MurdNerds or A Quart of Books and Booze, all brought to you by Golden Mojo Entertainment. So go check them out, goldenmojoent.com. Thank you for listening today. Jammie, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Like I said, good to see you again. And
yeah, man.
We're going to get on out of here. So later,
man.
Golden Image Radio is on the air. Golden Image.
Oh, I finally got a crap this game.
Rock on.
Oh! Wow. No, no, no,